I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to Buddha, giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vadi Mahashramana Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Swaha. Page 5 of the Place of Non-Grown Bodhisattvas. Page 5, the Place of Non-Grown Bodhisattvas, page 5. On the second line, second verse, this is a Tibetan and English one, the one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated to outreach the benefit of sentient beings. The teachers, God and protector to your new frustrations. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, whenever he gives teachings, on many occasions, he will cite these two lines and then inspire the audience to follow the path, the way is presented here. These two lines were written by Acharya Dignaga. 6 Dignaga. 6th century AD. And he was revered as the father of the Buddhist logic. And he wrote many texts or treatises on logic, and the one for which these two lines were written as the word of salutation. That is the classic, which is referred to as the Pramana Samuchaya, Compendium of Valid Cognitions. And these two lines were written by him, and how the story had it that Acharya Dignaga, he was hermit. He was in his hermitage, and the mornings he would go for the alms round. And he wrote these two lines on a slate in those days, and left. Coming back, what was written was erased. Again he wrote the same thing the next day, again left for alms round, coming back, erased 3 times. And the 4th day, he did not write this. He said that, whosoever erased what I wrote there on this slate, if you erased it because you, out of fun, out of joke, this is a very important work, please don't erase this. It has nothing to do with joke. It has nothing to do with fun. This is very important word. Please don't erase this. If you erase this because you disagree with what I wrote, then show up in person. He left. Coming back, a person is waiting. A man was waiting there. So what? For debate in those days. You told them debated. And in those days, the debate is very simple. Whoever lost the debate should be converted. So if you lost the debate and you along with all the students should be converted. This was the bet in those days. Then two of them debated, and then who can really compete with the father of the logic, or the Acharya Dignaga. Then the other one was defeated, and the other, instead of sticking to the bet, the other one became so angry and sent fire from his mouth. This person has some miracle powers. So he sent some fire from his mouth against Acharya Dignaga. And Acharya Dignaga's robes were burned. And Acharya Dignaga felt so disappointed and sad. And then he threw the slate in the air. And just thinking of how can I possibly work for all sentient beings? If one person in front of my nose, if I cannot help this person, how can I help all sentient beings? And he threw the slate in the air. And the moment the slate was to fall, he was to quit his bodhicitta, to go for it himself. Then the slate never fell. And he looked up in the sky, and he saw Arya Nagarjuna holding the slate. And Arya Nagarjuna consoled him, saying that, "My child, why are you demoralized? Why are you disheartened? I'm always there for you to guide you and to bless you. And you continue writing this. This book will become the eyes to millions to see the enlightenment." So this is the background. Now, these two lines, 100 years later, then Acharya Dharmakirti came on this earth. Acharya Dharmakirti, going through these two lines, he was fascinated. Amazing, these two lines. Okay, how many of us we read this for the last 5 days? We all read this. How many times? Minimum 5 days. 5. How many of you are fascinated? Okay. Acharya Dharmakirti read this, he was fascinated. And then, just to explain these two lines, he wrote a whole chapter on this. Mulamadyamikakarika, chapter 2. Chapter 2, which has 283 verses. And the 283 verses, if you read, we think that you will understand, you will not understand anything. To understand this, you have to again read another huge book as a commentary, without which you will not understand it. And he did not randomly wrote something, just fill the pages up. Not like that. You study that, you read these two lines, you will be fascinated. Okay, this was what these two lines are. So His Holiness is always encourages people to reflect to design your path on the basis of these two lines. Okay, what is these two lines? This morning I explained the early stanza and the below stanza. These two lines I kept it from the whole group who are missing this morning. Okay, so this is a very important point, the two lines. Well, these two lines have one, the thesis or conclusion, thesis to be established, the thesis, and then 4 premises, a set of four reasonings to establish this thesis. So what is the thesis? Before we go to this thesis, we should ask this question to ourselves. What do you want? What's the answer? In your life, what do you want from your life? Only that. Happiness. Charu? Say it again. Oh, happiness for self and others. Okay. Then. Okay. Malika? Fearlessness. Okay. Okay, fearlessness. Manjuri? Peace. Okay. And Raviji?
Happiness and fear.
Okay, fearless happiness. Okay. Sorry, again your name? Sandiji, yes.
Happiness and emotional well-being.
Emotional well-being, happiness, yes. Abarji?
I'd like health and contentment.
Say it again?
Health?
Health and contentment. Well, why health?
Good health is a priority.
Why?
Why? It saps your energy, it saps your attention.
It
detracts your attention.
No, good health.
Bad health?
No. Well, you said, I want good health.
Yes.
Well, I said, why do you need good health? You say, it distracts.
No, bad health.
So this is where we need to learn how to articulate your thoughts, right? So you meant something, and in your mind, you're looking for something else. Okay, Jack?
Happiness and enlightenment.
Happiness and enlightenment. Okay. What do you mean by enlightenment?
More the bodhicitta becoming enlightened so that I can be a benefit to others. But
To benefit others. Happiness and to benefit others. This is what I say. To benefit others very effectively. Right? Okay. Shabir.
Fearlessness.
Huh? Fearlessness. Wow, okay, very good. Dr. Andaji?
Fearlessness.
Okay. And Ratana? Sin.
From suffering, happiness.
Free from suffering. To get to suffering, I have happiness. Chandila?
To make good decisions and do the right thing. Have the right wisdom to do the right thing.
To take good decisions. Why?
I don't know, because you feel you're going to get good results.
Why do you need good results?
Happiness.
Okay. Arjunaji, maybe it's slightly different.
Happiness for myself and others.
Happiness for myself and others. Okay, then we have the conclusion.
Happiness.
Happiness. Okay. So what we see that all different answers, whatever answers you may give, there can be thousands of different answers given, and for all these answers you ask the next question: why do you want this? Then all will boil down to the same thing: to get rid of suffering and to have happiness. To get rid of suffering, this is, in Dharma terms, this is nirvana. To have the maximum happiness in Dharma terms, this is Buddhahood. Okay, finally this is it. And when you are to meet with, other people, say, who don't believe in Buddhism, who have no idea what Buddhism is. Oh, you're actually looking for nirvana and Buddhahood. What is nirvana, right? Instead of nirvana, you say you're looking for fearlessness. They will say, yes, I want fearlessness. And you want maximum happiness. Everybody say yes. You get it? So therefore we should be very skilled when we talk to other people. So some people, they go into Dharma, they go to Buddhism, and then they say, it's so difficult to convince others about Buddhism. Why should you have to convince about Buddhism to other people? Why? Right? You don't have to convince about Buddhism. Just ask them what you want. Then they will speak. Then from there the concept will come. You don't have to convert anybody, convince anybody of Buddhism. What do you want? Right? Then somehow you will be able to extract the information, and you can put them nicely, see that finally it is the fearlessness and the infinite happiness is what they are seeking. Then on that basis, you don't have to convert, you have to convince. Fearlessness is because of the thought process. Fear is because of the wrong thought process. Rectify the thought process, fearlessness will come to you. Lack of happiness is because of this selfishness. We let go of the selfishness. Instead, replace this with cherishing, love, compassion for others. Your happiness will grow. Then what will the next question? How? Then you tell. It's not necessary Buddhist. Even just say how to cultivate compassion. Compassion in Christianity is amazing. James is amazing. Then the question is how to really make a person feel that I should practice compassion, and compassion is something which I can practice. So that you have to, and then you have to, not only can practice, how? You should be able to teach. Don't just, force that, no, you have to practice compassion. How? Yes, I know it's very nice, but how? No, you have to practice compassion unconditionally. How unconditionally? Right? Again, you have to, no, you have to give the ways and means to practice it. Okay. So for this, the point is that we begin to understand these 2 lines. We have to understand what I'm seeking. You should understand yourself so well. Then we realize that we are seeking, let's say, for contentment. Who said contentment? Contentment. Contentment. If you are not contented, it can give you, if you can throw you into disaster. Then the lack of contentment, this is the greatest misery on yourself. You are always hungry, you're always thirsty. And then Shantideva said something. What did you say?
Wisdom to take good decisions.
Good decision, to make good decisions. Right? Why do we need to make wrong decisions? Can end up in disasters again. Wrong decisions. So you should have the wisdom to make good decisions. Why? With good decisions, you will not end up in miseries. Again, the reason is because I don't want miseries. Okay. So if this is who we are, if this is who you are, then on that basis, then the question is whether or not these 2 things, to get rid of all the fears and to have the maximum happiness, whether or not that is feasible, that's possible, this question. If the answer, the Buddha answers yes, then your next question is, this question. So for that matter, you need a guide. For example, to do Ph.D., there must be some Ph.D. candidates. Anybody? No? Okay. So for do somebody Ph.D., you need the supervisors. You need the guide. Even to do Ph.D., you need a guide. Then the Buddhahood is more complicated than Ph.D. You need, for sure, you need a guide. You need a guide. Okay, I need not only a guide, I need a reliable guide. This question. I need a reliable guide. What do you mean by reliable guide? This question. Anybody? Yes, Rabbi.
Somebody who can make you cross the road.
Somebody who can actually, this is key, actually make you cross the road of samsara. This is the reliable guide. This is so important. For that matter, now in the, say, the Tibetan tradition, not really Tibetan tradition, it's more like the later developments, where the Buddhism, spreads to the West, and with the, and this, craving for root guru. Oh, here's the root guru, she's the root guru. Oh, you must have a root guru. Some people will say that you must have a root guru. And in the first place, they don't know what is root guru. Right? And then they insist you have root guru. I see. Then what's the effect? Oh, without root guru, you will not become enlightened. Right? And some people, they don't need anybody else to tell them. They simply see that she's a root guru, he's a root guru, also she's a root guru, please be my root guru. Oh. This was not the case in the Tibetans. This is the later development. His always emphasizes, learn the Dharma. Don't look for root guru, that root guru, this root guru. Oh, the first root guru, now he's not my root guru, now I have the second root guru. It's a disaster. Which means you don't know what is root guru. Right? Okay, so the idea is, what exactly is root guru? Right? No hurry. No hurry. The point is that what for you want a guru? Guru means guide. What for you want a guide? I will need a guide to go to the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. This is what I want. I want somebody. How I know that this person can take me there, that person can take me there? How do you know this? Not for any other reason. Just follow this. What Acharya Dignaga said. Then what Acharya Dharmakirti interpreted. The whole 1 chapter on this. Okay. So it says, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide. So we are looking for a reliable guide. And in fact, this is exactly what Buddha himself, Prince Siddhartha, he himself, after leaving the palace, seeing the whole samsara. So okay, let's not speak of samsara. Let's be very, what do you call it? Going to the mundane or the secular the perspective. They said that he was fed up with all the problems that we see in his world, in the palace. And he was born as a very compassionate prince, extremely compassionate and extremely sharp, very intelligent prince, and very compassionate. And yet, in the palace, which should be the ideal place in the kingdom, even in this palace, there's so much injustices there, you could see that. And the story, Buddha's the life story is a sort of Buddha's a very naive boy, right? In the palace, he did not know what is there. And then he went out. Then he saw what? Old person, sick person, dead, and then mendicant. Right? And then he asked the charity, what is his name? Chandana. Chanda, yeah. He asked the Chanda. And Chanda and the Prince thought they were like the age group, from the same age group. And Chanda gave the reply. As well as Chanda is much smarter than Prince Siddhartha. Very naive story. This is just to summarize the story. To summarize the story. The reality is that he was in the palace. He is very smart, 10, 100 times smarter than Chanda, right? 100 times smarter. And the story said, the first said, he was born as very compassionate, very intelligent, and then finally he was asking things to Chanda. Chanda, he was like age group, right? He was made very dull. Prince Siddhartha was made very dull by the storytellers. This is not the real story. In the palace, he could see all these biases, unfairness. All this, he could see bullying, everything he could see there. And he also wanted these things to happen. And on top of that, wars were happening amongst the kingdoms. So many people are dying. He could see all these things. It's not just going out, then he saw the sick person, Chanda, is this something, what is this, sick person? And the Chanda was telling this prince, smart prince, and then, is this something which we'll go through? Yes. No, he knows all these things. Very smart, extremely smart. But still, the audience who would listen to this story after 100 years, 1,000 years, it should be made very simple. So therefore, it's made design like this. Actually, no, he's extremely smart. Then he left the palace to look for the ultimate solution, realizing that but being in the palace, he will not get the answer to all these problems. I must look for a solution. Anybody embraces this will be freed from suffering altogether. No matter who you are, whether you are a beggar, whether you are a king, queen, or the minister, or ordinary person, anybody embraces this path will be liberated. I must look for the solution. He left the palace. So he sought the help of his first teacher, Acharya Shantideva. Within a short span of time, he reached the same level of meditative experience as his teacher. And then he asked for more instructions. And the teacher said that you already got whatever I have. And then again, he went in search of the next teacher. He found the second teacher, Acharya Shantideva. Whose realization was much higher than the first teacher. Again, he got training under him, and again he reached the same level as that of the teacher. And again asked for more teaching, and the teacher said, no, you have already realized everything. What else do you need? So there's nothing else to be realized now. Stay with me, and all my students are your students, you guide them. And the Prince Siddhartha said that, no, I have still not found the path. the path which is a solution to all the problems of the world. He left, and then for 6 years, through his practice, he realized the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so what for he left in the first place? What for he left in the first place? To look for the solution. You're getting it, let's not forget this. To look for the solution. Finally, to be the light. To show the light to all the sentient beings, to all the beings. So, why did he have to take this responsibility? Why? Anybody? Why did he have to take this responsibility? Out of compassion. You're getting it? Out of compassion. Out of compassion. So the initial trigger for him to set this journey was the motivation to benefit all sentient beings. So it says, the one who has transformed into a reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. This is the trigger point. The trigger point. Look, this is so smart. Look, Acharya Dignaga, he composed like this, and this is what made Acharya Dharmakirti fascinated. So triggered by the altruism to benefit all sentient beings, motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings. This is the trigger point. So with this compassion, he set out to look for the solution. So compassion is the trigger point. With this then, what did he do? What should we, if you set out on this journey out of compassion, what will you do? Tell me, just pick your mind, what will you do? What would you have done?
First get the qualities yourself, or see what the cause is. And
See what the cause is, yes.
see if you can...
So finally, with compassion, you accept the journey to look for the solution. You're getting it? To look for the solution. And solution for the problems. So for that, as what Shantideva said, the problems, you have to track the cause of the problem. Right? Okay, I like advice from the Choe, the retreat, the attendees here. I'd like to seek one advice from you. Really? Be kind. I'll give the information and you give me the advice. The problem that I have is that I live in Delhi. I live in Delhi and I live on the 3rd floor. The points that I'm saying, they have a reason. I live on the 3rd floor. And there's a dampness there, dampness in the house. Because this dampness, the most, what was mold? Fungus, mold. Most also, it was. Okay, what is the green one? Molds, okay. The molds, very fine molds, because of which I have the asthma attack. And I don't want that. Advise me what to do. Okay, now I'm seeking advice quick. What advice would you do? First the doctor. Okay, doctor will come later. Anybody else? Because she's a very experienced doctor, I know.
Get rid of the dampness.
Get rid of the dampness. How?
By repairing the cracks in the wall.
Or repairing the cracks on the wall, okay? This is quite a tedious work, okay, number one. Number two, any more advice? Change the house, move the house. Vicharu?
Get the cleaner and first clear the mold.
Okay.
And then get some medication.
Okay. See, bring a cleaner and clean this house and then go to the doctor, get the medication.
And then you get this cracks and everything's fixed. And if this doesn't happen, then you change the house.
Okay. Okay, 7 steps are there.
Change the house and then look for
Okay, okay. Yes?
Find the cause of why the moss is coming in the first place.
The moss is coming because of the dampness.
Find the cause and address that cause.
Remove the dampness.
Yeah, so that it doesn't come back again.
Okay, remove the dampness. Okay.
And prevent it from coming back.
How should we remove the dampness?
Maybe there is something in the material that is used for construction. Maybe there is a straw in the way that the construction has taken place. So it is that.
Make sure things are kept dry. Open the windows.
Open the windows.
Yeah.
Stagnation in the roof.
Huh?
Stagnation of water in the roof. On the roof.
The roof is clear. Okay, now the doctor.
It's an air
Or maybe, yes,
It's an air purifier or deionizer.
air purifier or
Right,
dehumidifier.
the pockets of,
Dehumidifier? Are you talking about dehumidifier? Air purifier will not have.
no, the small mold particles will get attracted into that.
Dehumidifier. Okay. Heat the house. Okay, that is very hot already. Then you want me to again be in the oven. Then you heat it in one oven. Don't you must have a good idea.
Nothing to add.
Okay. Okay, Jack?
You need to identify the cause of the moisture and the tack, but it's the root cause of the moisture.
Okay, doctor?
So there are two things.
Yes.
One, like they all said, address what is happening in the house. Second, you come to me, I check which mode you are allergic to and I desensitize you to that mode. So even if that thing is around, you don't have to worry.
Okay.
So we treat you.
Okay. Okay, so the idea is to look for the root cause. Go for the immediate treatment and the long-term treatment both. Immediate treatment, come to the doctor. Long-term treatment, check the root cause. It is on the third floor, because it's third floor, water is not coming from the ground. And it's Delhi. Delhi is generally speaking dry. It's not like the humid weather. And then from the top I said there's no water locking happening there. So the dampness means there must be a reason. So if you check the water lines, pipelines, you may see a crack there. The fact that it's not coming, a lot of water coming like this, because it's just a mild dampness. It's not like the water oozing out. The water is so obvious. So it must be a very fine crack. You identify the crack, fix it, you don't have to change the room. Change the room Delhi is very complicated. It's not, and I have so many books up there. Right? Smitaji, be kind to me. I have so many books, it's very heavy books are there. Right? Okay, so the point is we have to identify the cause. In other words, what I'm saying is that, so this Prince Siddhartha, he's set off for the journey to look for the solution. Okay, so finally, he found the solution, the wisdom of anger. Knowing that the cause of the problem is the ignorance, to fix the ignorance, it should be the counterforce to be introduced. What should be the counterforce? The wisdom. The wisdom. Okay, tell me. Coming here, say, let's say you have been here for so many times. My coming here is for the first time. And I show a little bit of fear. From my body language, you will feel that I have a little sense of fear. Okay, then the Wongdula comes and says, Geshe, don't worry, have no fear, because there is no tiger in this campus. Is it true or not? There is no tiger in this campus? So this wisdom or ignorance? That there is no tiger in this campus. Is this wisdom or this ignorance? Of course it's wisdom, right? Still my fear is there. And then Manju comes. Geshe, what happened? So only already said that there is no elephant. What is it? Tiger. There is no tiger here. Still you have a fear. Yes, of course. Then Manju said, don't worry, Geshe, there is no elephant here. Okay, is it true or not? There is no elephant in this campus? True, it's wisdom, it's not ignorance. Still my fear is there. Right? Okay, then Shabira comes. Shabira, how will you help me? My fear is still there.
What are you afraid of?
Okay, then Smitaji says that, okay, Geshe, tell me why you're afraid of. And I would say that I'm afraid of the dengue problem, dengue. Dengue is not because of tiger, not because of elephant, it's because of mosquitoes. And I'm afraid of mosquitoes. I'm afraid of mosquitoes. Okay, so the wisdom required is not just any wisdom. Wisdom wisdom must be the wisdom which is directly in opposition to the ignorance pertaining to the object of apprehension. The wisdom must be the wisdom which is directly in opposition with the ignorance pertaining to the object of apprehension. What the ignorance says, the wisdom must be able to say the directly opposite of what the ignorance says. Ignorance says that, oh, there is mosquito here, malaria mosquito here, dengue mosquito here. The wisdom must be able to say that no, dengue mosquito is not here. Not any wisdom. There are many levels of wisdom, there are many kinds of wisdom. Not any wisdom, a specific wisdom. Wisdom which is directly in opposition with the ignorance, which is responsible for all the suffering pertaining to the object of apprehension. So the ignorance says that everything exists objectively. The wisdom must be the wisdom to say that nothing exists objectively. This wisdom is required. Not that nothing is permanent, unitary, independent. Nothing is autonomous, substantial real. Nothing is external real. These wisdoms are not relevant. The final wisdom that is required, that this Prince Siddhartha was looking for, is the wisdom to see that nothing exists objectively. So this wisdom is what he is to teach all the beings. So the second line says what? After the motivated by autism by all sentient beings, the teacher. The teacher means that he is to teach. That this Prince Siddhartha, the reason why he set off for this journey is to teach this wisdom of emptiness to all dear sentient beings. So this wisdom is given the label, arbitrarily, this wisdom is given the label, the teacher. This teacher refers to the wisdom, not the teacher, the person, the teacher. Okay, what is next? Sugata. Why Sugata? So when you, for example, let's say, if you say that, okay, I've discovered the medicine for this particular ailment, for example, let's say HIV. First you have to prove that it works. You have to prove it. In the laboratory, you have to prove that it works. It really works to cure HIV. For example, the one who invented the medicine for the gastric ulcer problem. So the pharmacist, he discovered this medicine, and to prove that it works, he said, like the antibiotics, it works. First he consumed the what?
H. pylori, the bacteria.
The bacteria which causes this problem. He consumed this, and literally he started suffering. Then he took these medicines. It worked. So he has to first experiment it on himself, right? So this is for us, for all of us who want to help others. Those who want to help others, first we have to, try to practice ourselves. So Prince Siddhartha, he experimented this wisdom of emptiness on himself to see whether it works. Then what happens? That this wisdom of emptiness, as it becomes gate, then when it reaches the paragate, the third level, then what happens? He could see that the ground, the iceberg, or the iceberg on which all the houses were stacked, all the houses were built, this iceberg started to melt. He could see that. Paragate level, part of steam, melt. And then through further practice, he could see that everything is melting, and then what is stacked on top of that all crumbles. Ignorance, what is stacked on ignorance is, inappropriate attention. What is stacked on inappropriate attention is?
Afflictions.
Gross afflictions. What stacked is on that is? Contaminated karmas. What is stacked on that is? Sufferings. All these start to crumble, right? Through his own experience, he put this to experiment with himself. He experimented this wisdom of emptiness, and then he says that the ground is being shaken. The ground of suffering is being shaken. Then the inappropriate attention is shaken. Affliction is shaken. Contaminated karma is shaken. Then the misery is shaken. All the mental disturbance dissolves. Sorrow dissolves. Mental disturbance all dissolve. What's the opposite of mental disturbance? Peace. He experienced extremely profound, reliable peace. Peace, bliss. The bliss of the peace is what he's experiencing. So this is known as, what is next to teacher? Sugata. Sugata meaning the one who has gone to the bliss of purity. Bliss which is freed of all the impurities, all the mental defilements. He experiences bliss. Sugata. Okay, with this bliss, the confidence that all the mental defilements dissolve, his irritation, agitation, everything dissolved. He became so confident. Then what's next? Protector. Then he went out to protect the beings by giving this light of this wisdom to others. So look, if you meet somebody, if we, not you, if we meet somebody like this, who set on the journey because of compassion, looking for the solution to get rid of all the problems, then he finally found the solution, and he or she experimented on himself or herself, and then all this mental disturbance, everything, fear dissolves, and experience the bliss of the dissolution of the impurities. Then he embarks on the journey to help somebody. Would you seek the help of this person or not? This is the best person. This is the best person. This is how we should look for a good guru. This is how we should pursue a journey. This is a journey which the Buddha traversed. This is a journey that we are to embark on. This is such a wise journey. Okay, this is meaning the teacher, Sugata, protector to your prostration. So this Acharya Dharmakirti was so fascinated to see these two lines, and he composed the Brahmanavartika chapter 2, particularly Brahmanavartika text, particularly chapter 2, dedicated to explain these two lines. This is heavily loaded with many nuances and the reasonings. Okay, now we will do the Tsemarukyuba, Dola Penshepa, Tumba Deshi, Dola Chasero. These two lines. Which one? Protector. Protector is the Tumba Deshi Kyop. Gompo is actually benefactor. Gompo in Tibetan is benefactor, but many people translate it as protector. Actually, it's not. Tumba is teacher. Deshik is the Sugata, and Kyop is the protector. Kyop. La Chasero. Oh, okay. This is Kyop. It's not Kyop. Yeah, Kyop. Kyop La Chasero.